So don't leave him out any cookies?
I think he won't get mad, but I think he'll be very disappointed. Santa's a little bit on the cherubic side. You know what cherubic means? A little on the heavy side. I think Santa would like some cookies. You'd like to leave some cookies for Santa, right?
Yes.
But you're not going to forget. You'll leave some. I would leave them. I think Santa has a serious appetite.
It's just so precious. President Trump talking to the kids on Christmas Eve, or talking about not leaving cookies for Santa? How dare you, madam? It is Mike Opelka in for Chris Plant on the Friday after Christmas, Boxing Day, Thank You Note Day. All kinds, and it's Friday, so the weekend is kicking off, day after Christmas. Hope you had a great Christmas. We have a lot to get to in the third hour of the show today. Thanks for being here. Yeah, we've been playing some of these little clips of the president talking to the kids about what they wanted for Christmas. We have one more. We have to play cut number 2, Michael, because we had so many of them. This was the last one in the pile of great Trump taking the phone calls from the kidlets.
Well, we track Santa all over the world. We want to make sure that Santa is being good. Santa's a very good person. We want to make sure that he's not infiltrated, that we're not infiltrating into our country a bad Santa. So we found out that Santa is good. Santa loves you. Santa loves Oklahoma like I do. You know, Oklahoma was very good to me in the election, so I love Oklahoma. Don't ever leave Oklahoma, okay?
Okay, I'll try.
Okay, bye. I'm never leaving Oklahoma. I love the fact that the president is making sure we're not having a bad Santa infiltrating the country. Just so precious. So much to get to today in the last 48 hours or so since I was here. We've been keeping an eye on all the news. Yesterday, as you know, there was a release from the president regarding military action we have taken against the ISIS terror group in northern Nigeria. To quote the president, this was yesterday, tonight at my direction as Commander-in-Chief, the United States launched a powerful and deadly strike against ISIS terrorist scum in northwest Nigeria, who have been targeting and viciously killing primarily innocent Christians at levels not seen for many, many years and even centuries. I have previously warned these terrorists if they did not stop the slaughtering of Christians, there would be hell to pay, and tonight there was. So we now know the government of Nigeria was totally in sync with the United States on this project, knew about it ahead of time, approved it, green-lighted it, whatever you want to say. So anybody who's disturbed by this, the president is not unilaterally dropping into foreign nations and dropping bombs on people. And these dead terrorists now will not be killing Christians anymore. Does this mean it's over? Probably not. The Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, has said there will be more responses, and I'm sure there are probably other ISIS camps. We will see. We will see what happens on it. So that is that story. Plus, yesterday we heard from the Department of Justice that there are possibly an additional 1 million documents connected to Jeffrey Epstein, and that those are going to require some kind of vetting and possibly redactions to protect victims. And the DOJ was even asking for volunteers to come in over the holidays and work on that problem. We don't know where that's going yet. We will see. But 1 million more documents, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we've already seen 700,000 various and sundry documents already released. This will take weeks. And I know the left is screaming about it. But there's not much to say because there's not much to see right now. We haven't been given access to too many things, other than the documents that are redacted but not redacted. the ones you can copy and paste and the redactions go away. Isn't that kind of amazing? Not all of them, but a significant portion of them. So we'll keep an eye on that. We also are monitoring. We talked about free speech in the last hour. We talked about how the First Amendment, which I'm a firm believer in the First Amendment, I'm all for more speech, not less speech, but we're seeing many on the left who say, no, we have to be in charge of free speech. God forbid the left gets back in control, and we'll probably see that Nina Jankowicz, the disinformation czar that almost had a gig in the government. No, we don't want that to happen. But one of the people who is constantly talking about how his speech is being suppressed, and yet no one seems to remember when we told Jimmy Kimmel he can't say things. Jimmy Kimmel, who still has his show, and the last I checked, Jimmy Kimmel's show was extended through the midterm. So he, unlike Stephen Colbert, whose show is supposed to go away in May of 2026, Kimmel has been extended through, I think, May of 2027, which will probably put him in a position to argue that he should be there through the 2028 election. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But Jimmy Kimmel making a lot of news in the last 24 hours with something he said to the Brits. Check this out. I think. No, that's your clip, Michael. I don't have this one. Oh, I thought, well, then I do. Michael and I are having a conversation, and I will get the Kimmel clip because I think I thought you had it. We're going back and forth here. This was Jimmy Kimmel's special message to the UK about the tyranny that we here in America are experiencing. My bad, Michael, on that one.
I honestly have no idea what's going on over there. I do know what's going on over here, though, and I can tell you that from a fascism perspective, this has been a really great year. Tyranny is booming over here.
Tyranny and fascism booming over here. He's talking to the Brits and wanting to tell the British people that America is like in the fascism business and in the tyranny business.
You may have read in your colorful newspapers, my country's president would like to shut me up because I don't adore him in the way he likes to be adored. The American government made a threat against me and the company I work for, and all of a sudden we're off the air. And because so many people spoke out, we came back. Our show came back stronger than ever. We won, the president lost, and now I'm back on the air every night. We are not bright. We're Americans. No one knows better than you. We're always just a little bit late to the game.
Excuse me? First of all, you're telling the British media that your country is not a bright country. You're part of the country that has given you the opportunity to make a ridiculous fortune for yourself, have a life that people around the world, 99.9% of the people around the world, would kill for the life you have, Jimmy Kimmel. But you want to denigrate the country that gave that to you and say that we, America, are behind the curve. How are we behind the curve? How are we the country that's locking up people for posting things on social media? No, the nation you're speaking to is doing that, sir.
But do we come through in the end? Maybe. Give us about 3 years, please.
3 years. Give us about 3 years. What does that mean? Oh, I get it. It's Donald Trump and Donald Trump's second term.
Thank you for your patience, and thank you for Spider-Man. Merry Christmas and happy holidays.
Now, thank you for Spider-Man. I don't think Spider-Man was a British creation. I'm not sure. I'm not 1,000% certain on that. But I don't believe Spider-Man was a British creation. And I'm sure somebody in the comic knowledge department will know that. Or not. Maybe we'll have to ask Grok about Spider-Man, but I don't believe that was something that the Brits created. But that's just bizarre to me that Jimmy Kimmel would go on a British interview and denigrate the country that has given him so much. And he still has his contract. He's still going forward. He will still be on the air through the spring, at least the spring of 2027. So he will get to spend the entire midterm run-up welcoming every left guest, left pundit he possibly can. But, the fascism thing, that is something that the left is, they're absolutely in love with calling Trump a fascist, talking about tyranny. As a matter of fact, we have an entire montage of leftists calling Trump a fascist.
Let me ask you tonight, do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do.
This is what kicking the out of fascism looks like.
Try to prevent the spread of the lawlessness and the fascist chaos that's been unleashed against us.
So when we say Donald Trump is a fascist, fascism, a huge component of fascism is uniting racism, bigotry, a form of racist nationalism.
We are now living in a fascist dictatorship.
Mm-hmm. We are worried about potential rise of fascism in this country. We're worried about our democracy falling to an authoritarian and potentially fascist form of government.
Not only to roll over to Donald Trump's will, but to roll over our democracy and allow him to take over this country as a fascist dictator.
When fascism isn't just coming, it's already here.
The former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley, said, "No one has ever been more dangerous to this country than Donald Trump, and he is a fascist to his core."
Well, there you go, ending with Tim Walz, the governor of Somalisota, as we like to call it. The left loves to call Trump a fascist, and they fully do not understand what a fascist or a dictator is, because if Trump were a fascist dictator, do you think any of them would have the outlets and the opportunities to open their mouths the way they do? No. No, all of that would have been erased. And we have to talk about Minnesota. We have to talk about the Somali invasion of this country in certain marketplaces and what's being done, not only in Minnesota, but also happening in the state of Maine. As I said, Wednesday, we played for you the clip of the mayor of Boston, who has been very outspoken about the Somali community and just how important it has been to build Boston with this Somali community. No, I really don't think that's what we think of when we think of the city of Boston. And I think history will bear us out on that. But not too far from Boston is the state of Maine. And in the state of Maine, we're now starting to hear stories popping up that there may be similar corruption scandals as we're seeing in Somalisota. But a Somalian school board member at the Portland Public Schools, there's more than one, there's a couple of them, they stand during the Pledge of Allegiance but do not recite the Pledge of Allegiance. What's really bizarre about this is, and I'll play the pledge for you. You can't see the video, but rest assured, the two hijab-wearing members of the Somali school board in the Portland Public Schools in Maine are not saying the pledge. They're not speaking it. They're just standing. But then it's what is announced to the school board immediately after the Pledge of Allegiance that also causes me problems.
We're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance.
And they all stand up, hand over the hearts. Well, only one.
Introduce the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So the members, 5 or 6 members stand. 3 of them recite. The two Somali members do not say a word, do not hold their hand over their heart. And then the person who is making the announcements in the school board meeting at the Portland, Maine Public Schools makes this announcement.
Portland Public Schools recognizes the original inhabitants of the land on which our city and schools stand. The Wolastoqey or Maliseet, Micmac, Penobscot, and Passamaquoddy tribes, known collectively as the Wabanaki Confederacy.
So the school board meeting begins with a Pledge of Allegiance and then a recognition of the stolen land. I don't know how these kids are going to get a fair shake when it comes to an education in this world. I don't know how they're ever going to compete. There's more from Somalisoda. Wait till you hear what the mayor of Minneapolis said about ICE agents. This is absolutely crazy. Join the conversation if you wish. 888-630-9625. It's Opelka in for Plant on the Chris Plant Show. It is the Chris Plant Show. Mike Opelka in for Chris Plant. Thanks for being here. I have a lot to get to. I'm about to play a couple clips from Somalistan. I'm trying to come up with the right name to rename Minnesota. Somalisoda. Maybe that's the way to do it. Maybe you can help me. 888-630-9625. 888-630-9625. I'm just stunned by the amount of waste, fraud, and abuse we're seeing. And other than a handful of people that have been arrested at the heart of it, we haven't seen any real penalty for those at the top. They are all in on protecting their community. In fact, the Lieutenant Governor of Minnesota, Lieutenant Governor Flanagan, put on the hijab this past week and announces, declares the Somalis built Minnesota.
Assalamu alaikum. My name's Peggy Flanagan. I am the Lieutenant Governor of Minnesota, and I'm really honored and humbled to be here with all of you today. I am incredibly clear that the Somali community is part of the fabric of the state of Minnesota.
Not a question. Yeah, if you're there, you're part of the fabric, but are you really the ones that built it?
I think about my friendship with Nimco. We've been friends for almost 25 years. And when I think of being part of Minnesota and growing up here, the Somali community has always been a part of my Minnesota. So I want to just encourage the community to know that we're with you. We've got your back. I am here shopping today, and just encourage other folks to show up, support our Somali businesses, support our immigrant neighbors. And I know that things are scary right now.
Scary, are they? Are they really scary? Well, what did the Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey say about ICE agents?
I am increasingly concerned because of the chaos that is being caused by these ICE agents that somebody is going to get seriously injured or killed. Somebody is going to get seriously injured or killed. And whether that is an ICE agent or a community member, we all know the tinderbox that could explode because of it.
Sounds like a threat. We need to do a deeper dive on this, and we will just around the corner. It's Mike Opelka in for Chris Plant on the Chris Plant Show. It is the Chris Plant Show. Merry Christmas to you and yours. I hope you had a great Christmas today. The day after Boxing Day, write a thank you note day, all kinds of things. And we're trying to keep up with all the news. Of course, anything big happens in addition to what went on overnight with our attack on the ISIS camps in northern Nigeria. We'll update you. But no new news, although Secretary of War Hegseth says there will be more. There will be more actions. We're talking about the Somalis in Minnesota. Of course, we still haven't gotten to the real answer on all of the waste, fraud, and abuse and the billions of dollars. And other than the people on the front lines, we haven't seen any political fallout. Tim Walz is saying he's going to solve the problem. Now it happened in your watch, mister. Seems like that shouldn't have happened. And then I mentioned the mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, who said some pretty tough things about ICE agents. And in my opinion, this kind of feels like a threat.
I am increasingly concerned because of the chaos that is being caused by these ICE agents that somebody is going to get seriously injured or killed. Somebody is going to get seriously injured or killed. And whether that is an ICE agent or a community member, we all know the tinderbox that could explode because of it. We all know that the federal government is looking for reasons to deploy more and more people to Minneapolis and blue cities around the country. We all know that we cannot afford to lose a single Minneapolis resident because they showed up and decided to protect their neighbors.
Wait a minute. You're saying a resident? But just because somebody's there, does that give them the right that citizens have? This is where I start listening very closely to the words of these people. A resident. Just because somebody's there doesn't mean they have a right to be there.
Because they showed up and decided to express their constitutional right to free speech.
Now, your constitutional rights, aren't those the rights of the citizens? I just wonder. But it sure sounds like the mayor is inciting by saying it'd be a shame if somebody got hurt here. It'd be a terrible thing if somebody was injured. I'm just saying. I just want to point that out to somebody. It'd be a tragedy. It really feels wrong. Feels very wrong. Let me grab a couple of calls here on this subject. It's a hot topic here. John is in Maryland. John, welcome to the Chris Plant Show. Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas, Mike. Thanks for taking my call.
You're welcome.
I have a couple things for you. First thing is, I think we should name Minnesota Fraudville.
Ooh, that's pretty good, Fraudville. I'll take that under advisement.
And the second thing is the lieutenant governor's comments a moment ago. She said that the Somalis are the fabric of Minnesota. Well, she's correct. They are. They're the holy parts. You know, you get holes in your garments after wearing them out for so long. They're the holes.
I don't think we're allowed to call them the holes, John. I think that's too easily drifting into an area that I could get in trouble with. But well done. Yeah, very well done. Yeah, anybody who's really legitimately part of a community is part of the fabric of the community. We talked about the gorgeous mosaic that is any very diverse community. But if you're here illegally or if you're not assimilating, then you're really not part of the fabric. You're part of the problem. So thank you, John. I appreciate that. Let's go to Jim in Chicago listening on the great WLS. Hello, Jim. Welcome to the Chris Plant Show.
Hello, Michael.
Hello, brother. What's up?
Hey. Well, anyways, the Somalis come from a region of the world known as the Horn of Africa. But it's not the entire Horn. There's also Ethiopia over there. You know, the area is like the size of Mexico. And the only thing we heard about bad things from people from Horn of Africa is the Somalis. The Ethiopians, not a thing. Basically, they're like the same people. You know, like Cain and Abel. And the Somalis are definitely like Cain. For example, a Thailand-Ethiopia war in 1935, when the fascists invaded Ethiopia, the Somalis fought alongside the fascists in 1935 against the Ethiopians. In other words, all three invasions in Ethiopia's recent histories, the Somalis were either participants or initiate an invasion of Ethiopia.
Yeah,
they fought three wars against each other.
I don't know too much about the wars back and forth between the two countries, Jim. I just know that the communities that we allowed to come here, that the Somali community that came as refugees was supposedly fleeing a really bad political situation, and they have, in many ways, chosen not to assimilate. And I was always told that that was the great strength of America, was the melting pot, not the fact that we had a bunch of separate and different communities living side by side. It's about assimilation and being part of, not apart from. But thank you, Jim. Appreciate the call. Staying on topic here, John, line 6. John, welcome to the Chris Plant Show. Where are you calling from, John?
Yeah, I'm calling from Marysville, Maryland.
Oh, well, hello. Welcome. What's up?
So, you know, I want to respond to this mayor. I mean, really, they really are putting the plant and the seed to incite violence to say, hey, you need to come and protect these people that we imported to outvote Republicans, or we're going to lose the Democratic majority. And really, that's what it gets down to. This whole thing was an importation of foreign invaders to outvote Republicans to implement communism. That really was the theme. And let's not forget, Barack Hussein Obama imported over 1 million Muslims from terrorist nations under a lottery system. That wasn't a vetting process. That was a lottery based on religion. And Barack Obama did that, and he facilitated this whole thing where we've got 5 members of Congress that are Muslims that hate this country, and all they do is bash America, bash white people, white Christians, and that's really their goal. Their goal is to separate, divide, and that's exactly what they're here to do, and that's exactly what's going on. And if we don't wake up, we're going to end up like, just pick one, UK, France, all these people are being overthrown. I mean, Christmas was eliminated in France this year because they were worried about the Muslims rioting. They burnt Christmas trees down. You know, we were at war, and it's going on right now, and it's now moved into the United States. It's moved into these major cities. The Somali population within Minnesota was imported, and now they've got a member of Congress that hates this country. As far as we know, she married her brother to get here, and why the hell hasn't she been deported?
Well, until we get actual proof and I guess adjudicated case on that marrying the brother, I would like to see it resolved either way. Either we should stop talking about it or we should get the answer on it, because we waste time when we dance around an issue like that. And there certainly are enough allegations, enough people talking about it. But thank you for your call on this topic. I want to grab a couple more before I can't lose out sharing with you some of the things Scott Jennings has said. Let me just do a little lightning round here on the phones. Let's go to Hack in Bethesda, Maryland. Hello, Hack. Welcome to the Chris Plante Show. What's on your mind?
Well, I was going to talk about the Starbucks thing, but since you're on Somalia here, how about the land of 10,000 scams? Okay.
Oh, that's very good. Land of 10,000. We talked about Fraudville, maybe the land of 10,000 scams. There may be more than 10,000.
On the license plate, okay. Hey, but here's another thing. I mean, since we're talking about Somalia here, did you know back in the 1920s, I can't remember if it was Minneapolis or St. Paul, but the corrupt mayor offered sanctuary to the gangsters that were terrorizing the Midwest. They were not subject to any law enforcement actions. And, of course, they were paying kickbacks. And so they would go to Chicago or St. Louis, rob their banks, and then hang out in Minneapolis and without any worries. Just 100 years ago.
I didn't know about that.
Here we are.
Didn't know about that. But wait, let me get one quick last point with you. What were you talking about boycotting Starbucks? What did I miss?
Oh, okay. All right. So this is all showing up, the baristas, they want to make as much money as the CEOs and stuff. So, because billionaires are evil, sure, and they need to be destroyed. And I see some from the SEIU union where they're all saying that and stuff. And I've made the point, well, here you are railing against billionaires and how evil they are, but you're using an app created and owned by a billionaire. So
it is funny. The irony avoids them on every turn. Well done, Hack. Many good points brought up. Thank you. Let's go to JR in Fairfax, Virginia. Hello, JR. Welcome to the Chris Plante Show.
Hey, JR. How you doing?
I'm good. You're JR.
I am JR.
Yeah.
That's right. I'm going to go back on what Jimmy Kimmel said about, he hates everything about Donald Trump. But listen to this guy, the man that said we are going to watch women on trampolines at the end of every show that he had. What is this guy?
Well, that's right. If I may quote the great philosopher Christopher Plant, if it weren't for double standards, the left would have no standards at all. That's right. Jimmy Kimmel used to feature girls on trampolines, and there are a myriad videos available showing Kimmel sneaking up behind women in skirts doing things I can't describe because I got myself in trouble. But thank you, JR, for that point. Let me get to Mike in Chattanooga. Mike answering a question. Jimmy Kimmel also thanked the Brits for Spider-Man, and I asked the question, wait a minute, Spider-Man was a British creation? Mike, you have the answer?
That is he was incorrect. Of course, we should be used to that. Spider-Man is a product of the United States. By Stan Lee was the author and artist. The story of a nerd teenager who was bitten by a radioactive spider, became great and defeated all sorts of enemies in this great, beautiful country of ours. And he left us with the line that we should all remember is, with great power comes great responsibility.
Well done. Well summarized. Yes, the great Stan Lee gave us the great Spider-Man, the amazing Spider-Man. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. Let's go to Steve in Indiana. Hello, Steve. You're probably listening on the great WLS because you're so close to Chicago.
Yeah, that's correct. We get most of our media from Chicago. Your beloved WGN is not your beloved WGN anymore. They've gone completely to the dark side. Even over these past couple of days when hardly anybody's working, news-wise, if they don't have a story, against ICE or raids or something like that, they will dig up stories from months ago and replay those. And Wednesday, New Year's Eve or Christmas Eve day,
yeah,
they had there was 10 people that showed up to protest. They were all clergy, communist clergy, more communist than clergy. But there was more news people there covering that than there were protesters. Yeah, but of course, if you're going to say something against Trump, or if you're going to hold some type of protest, no matter who you are or how few you are, you're going to get on the media in Chicago.
Wow, no matter how few you are, as long as it's anti-Trump, we'll give you airtime. Well done, Steve. Nicely done. Good media report. Appreciate you. One more call here. Larry in Charleston, South Carolina. Hello, Larry.
Yes, sir. I want to say that Trump should not appease Putin and reward him with the acquisition of any land taken by aggression. That didn't work for Chamberlain in 1939. It only led to World War II.
Well, we don't know what the deal is yet, Larry. There is talk of a possible end of the war between Russia and Ukraine, and there's talk of a possible demilitarized zone between the two countries. So I'm adopting a wait-and-see attitude. Zelensky is going to meet with President Trump in Florida on Sunday of this week, so maybe we'll have more information. And we'll let's gather again on Monday and talk about it. We'll break it down. We'll see what happens. But I, for one, would like to see an end to the killing, end to the war, and you bring up some really valid points. We'll take care of that. Just around the corner, I've teased this, and I have to play it for you. One of my favorite figures of 2025, Scott Jennings. He wrote a great book about President Trump's return to office, but he also has said some amazing things on CNN. We'll share them with you just around the corner on The Chris Plante Show. It is The Chris Plante Show. I have a little Lakeshore Drive music. I love that. Makes me have a flashback to my misspent youth in Chicago. It's Mike Opelka in for Chris, and God willing, I'll be here next week as well as we wrap up 2025 and get ready for 2026. Very excited about it. 2025 has been an amazing year, and one of the names that popped this year, along with this second Trump administration and all of the big players who have stepped up in ways that I don't think a lot of us anticipated, like Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, Pete Hegseth, Secretary of War, Robert Kennedy, all superstars doing their jobs, is Scott Jennings, who is a senior political commentator over at CNN. Also, an author, wrote a book called A Revolution of Common Sense, How Donald Trump Stormed Washington, D.C. and Fought for Western Civilization. It came out in November of this year. Picked it up, knocked it out in a weekend. It's a great book. if you're into looking at this this election, this past year ago now, it's a really fast read as well. But Jennings is a guy who's been just a great representative for conservatism on CNN. Just play you one of the things that made me laugh out loud.
Many of them, she made them really angry, but at the end of the day, there was often grudging respect for
talking about Nancy Pelosi's retirement on CNN.
Or some of the things that skills that she brought to the table.
Oh, yeah. There were people who respected her legislative ability and, being a political boss. I mean, she was the boss of her conference.
Nancy D'Alessandro.
And there is, for political operators, a lot of respect for that. I'll tell you this, I don't know how much we raised over the years off of sending out fundraising appeals based on Nancy Pelosi, but it was a metric butt ton. I'm telling you right now, putting Nancy Pelosi in fundraising mail or fundraising emails would always produce. And by the way, it's not often that someone can become a titan of both Washington and Wall Street. Republicans will remember her as one of the most successful and prolific day traders. She beat the S&P 500 by 559% in her stock portfolio. She's worth a lot of money. She did an amazing job. So what a blow for the financial houses today on Wall Street. I'm sure they're mourning.
Just getting in an elbow, right?
Yeah, really trying to get in some opposition research.
Scott Jennings creating a new term for political fundraising. The Republicans were capable of raising a metric butt ton of money just by putting Nancy Pelosi into their fundraising emails. I don't think he's wrong on that. I don't think he's close to being wrong. He also has a podcast, and he was recently we talked about the people who are here in this country illegally. Why should I try and say what Scott's going to say?
We don't have to let people in. They're guests in our country. Visas and other programs that let people in, we're not bound to do it. We don't have to do it. We don't have to do any more of it. Through the goodness of our hearts, we've done it. But some of these people that we've let in have no interest in assimilation. And by assimilation, I mean embracing the United States of America, what we stand for, the way we do it. They try to import their culture. They try to import their political culture into our country, and they're just fundamentally incompatible.
Fundamentally incompatible. The key is assimilation. We really should expect a vow to assimilate in anybody we grant U.S. citizenship. My opinion, I just think if we're going to ask the military and our elected officials to swear to uphold the Constitution, anybody who comes here and wants to be part of this great country should also pledge allegiance to it. Thank you for being here this week. As I said, next week we'll break down 2025 and look ahead to 2026. I hope you join us. Thank you, Michael Piercy. It's always a pleasure. Thank you, Maria Leaf. Till next time, it's Mike Opelka reminding you, testudo, my friends, testudo.